Hi, I'm Dewey Hollister, Executive Director of the St. George Village Botanical Garden, the botanical garden of the Virgin Islands. Today, I'd like to show you in this little garden one of my favorite groups of plants, which are the bird's nest Anthuriums. The bird's nest Anthuriums are a little different than typical Anthuriums that you may be familiar with from florists. So let's start with what you may have already seen. Typical Anthurium plant looks something like this. This is a native species here in the Virgin Islands, and the flower of an Anthurium that is a showy Anthurium is actually a modified leaf called a spathe, and the flower parts are on a protuberance through the leaves that looks like a little spike and has tiny little flowers on it, and that's called a spathe. So, I'm sorry, spathe, spadix. So we're going to see some spathes and spadix here in just a second, but that's not the kind of Anthurium I want to talk about. I want to talk about one that is a litter basket kind of plant. A litter basket plant is like this bromeliad here. This is in the pineapple family. It's growing here on rocks. And if you're living on rocks or a tree, how do you get fertilizer? How do you get soil? Well, one way the litter basket group deals with that is by catching things from up above. So here we can see that these bromeliads actually catch water, but they also catch leaves. So here's a leaf caught in there. Those things will rot down in that plant and fertilize it. So something like this catches in here. That's quite a meal for a plant this size. A litter basket Anthurium does not catch water, but it catches a lot bigger leaves. Take a look at this guy. So you can see this Anthurium has loads and loads of litter basket kind of debris that is caught in there, and that's going to fertilize this plant. And keep in mind, this plant in nature would grow on a tree branch, in a tree crotch, or actually on a rock. It might grow on the ground, but that's a little more unusual. And here's the flower. Again, you remember what I just said, this is the modified leaf, and this is actually the flower stalk right here. So this is a spathe, this is a spadix. You can see the individual little flowers studding that. Beautiful, beautiful plants. But surprisingly, these plants will actually get a lot larger than this. So let's take a look at another friend that I have here over here. So I'm going to have to stand up next to this one. And you can see it's the same sort of idea as the other bird's nest Anthurium that is operating in this litter box way. And we can see the litter. When we look down here in the bottom of this plant, it's full of leaves and other kinds of nice organic debris ready to be fertilizer. And again, has the big flower like Anthuriums do. Again, the spathe and the spadix. So it's just, again, a variation on the theme. Some of them have narrow leaves, some of them wider leaves. But this litter basket habit that the bird's nest Anthurium have developed have served them very well. And they can live without any contact with ordinary soil. So in the tropics, we do find that we have lots of interesting plants with a lot of interesting ways of living. And I'm glad you shared this little visit with my Anthurium friends. I'm really looking forward to seeing you looking at some other plants in the near future. See you soon.